Welcome, everybody, to the Out of Home Insider Show, a podcast like no other, hosted by the one and only Tim Rowe. Get ready to have some knowledge dropped on you and to be entertained, because nothing's more valuable than food for your brain. So sit back, relax, we're about to dive in as the best industry podcast is about to begin.
Conversations start, and you know this, conversations start, and then you're like, damn it, I wish I had pressed record back then.
Sure. Yeah.
And it just happens too many times. So you know, maybe we could just start, because I'm going to ask you the same questions. I'm not going to make you answer them twice, and we just roll in. It's kind of like Joe Rogan, if you've ever listened to Joe Rogan.
Of course.
We'll just roll in. So Matai, like, you know, the way that you came onto my radar was a little bit different than most folks do. It turned out that we were already connected, because duh, like that makes sense. But Matai, tell everybody a little bit about yourself, and then maybe we'll get to know you a little bit better about some Wall Street bets.
Yeah. So I guess I'm kind of the oddball, right, in the out of home industry, because
we all are. We're all little.
That's fair. But my background is actually digital marketing. So I started off like something like 10 or 11 years ago now, Jesus. Started working in PR initially. Then I moved into advertising at Leo Burnett Publicis. Then I worked in some e-commerce companies where I did the entire digital marketing ecosystem. And in the meanwhile, at some point, I co-founded what is now TPS Engage as like a side hustle project. But in time, it became something that stood on its own 2 feet. And here we are now, basically.
So tell me about TPS Engage. Like, where do you fit into the ecosystem?
If we're going into technicalities, we're basically a DSP. So where we fit in is we bring demand to billboard owners. And the way we differentiate from other DSPs is that we do 2 things really well. One is hourly buying. So we go with what is called in most places programmatic guaranteed. So we're firm believers that if you buy outdoor, you should know exactly when your ad will run and what hours it will run in. And the second thing is dynamic creative. So we're from like the Wall Street Bets thing, I think is the best example. It's not dynamic creative, but it is real time. So we're firm believers in the power of creative for out of home, and we try to make that as best as we can.
Got it. That makes plenty of sense. I'm going to bring up, sorry for the little pause there. I want to bring up the GameStop Wall Street bets. You know, if you're not familiar with this story, I think we're going to have Matai fill us in a little bit here. This is how you came across my radar. Again, we were already connected, but you certainly made a splash here. And if you're not watching this on YouTube, then I'll link it out in the comments below. But this is awesome. This is awesome. And so, like, what's the deal with this Wall Street Bets and GameStop? Like, I go there to buy my son video games. But GameStop, really? GameStop to the moon.
Yeah, so I came across the whole, I don't know what to call it, initiative, community-driven craze, I guess, randomly. So I use Reddit pretty often, which is funny enough because I'm originally from Europe and Reddit is not that popular in Europe.
Interesting.
Yeah, but it's obviously huge in the US. So I used it and I use it, and I started to see people kind of gathering around this community called Wall Street Bets and basically saying, hey, let's stick it to the big guys. Let's go against the big hedge funds. And because there's this trend of everyone becoming an amateur trader because of Robinhood and because of other apps that allow the average Joe to trade, let's all band in together and show them that they can't manipulate the stock price just because they have billions of dollars at their disposal. And that became a huge thing, I guess, that resonated with a lot of people, because a lot of people started to buy what they call meme stocks. So basically, they were buying stock that made no sense, because in 2021, if somebody would pitch GameStop to you as a company, you would laugh them out of the room, right?
Right. If I called you up with, hey, I got a hot stock tip, you should buy GameStop, I'm probably not going to be very credible. So this started like a couple weeks ago, right? It's a fairly recent phenomenon.
Yeah, funny enough, the community was pretty big even before that. So it had like around 2 million people, I think. And mostly they were talking, they were either making jokes about various other stocks or actually giving financial advice. Well, not financial advice, but just saying what they're doing, and some people would follow along. But now it's, I think,
Matai, I should interrupt you. We need to
yeah.
read the disclaimer from our attorneys here. Like, this show is not a guaranteed of future earnings or to be perceived as financial advice. All right, continue.
Yes, that's a good call. Thank you. So yeah, that's what they say as well. This is not financial advice, but there were a lot of people basically talking about the stock market. And at some point, so there were like 1.5, 2 million people in that community. Now it's 8 million something.
Eight and a
like,
half million. I checked it this morning. Eight and a half million. Like a week ago, it was 7.7. 8.5 million people on one subreddit pumping
It's
up
crazy.
GameStop.
Yeah. And there's a lot of amazing stories about this guy who is now kind of the Jesus of this community, called Roaring Kitty, or that's a code name because the user Reddit name is, I think, Deep Fucking Value. Pardon my French, but that's his username. And he put in something like 50K, I think, early in the craze, and he made something like 40 something million dollars out of 50K invested. Yeah.
And there's a lot of
to
people on there like that, like people that have no business investing, but they put in the $600 stimulus check they got and paying off houses and doing all sorts of craziness.
Yeah, of course, a lot of people are also lost money because there's like people who invested right at the top and they lost money, but a lot of people also made money. Yeah, it's interesting.
Awesome. Do you see this? Where's GameStop today? Where's it trading today? And how do you think that this all plays out?
Oh, I think, funny enough, I think if GameStop is smart, they could actually use all of this to their advantage as a business, because now there's like affinity towards the brand, right? So they could definitely build something by using this momentum. And I was reading that they hired executives to move the business into e-commerce and all that. So who knows, 5 years from now, we might be actually talking about GameStop, who is a serious contender for digital games and selling. I don't know, maybe it becomes the next Steam. Hell if I know. But it's a good opportunity for them. I don't think they expected this kind of opportunity to come again, right?
No kidding, right? They were packing their bags, writing last will and testaments. That puppy was about dead, and this, it's cool, right? It shows truly the power of the people. And I've had a few conversations with some other folks on Wall Street Bets. We haven't recorded, so this is first. This is exciting to be able to do. But just average Joes, like you said. I talked to a college kid the other day, goes to BYU. He plays Oregon for the men's choir there, just got married, and, set up a Roth IRA for him and his wife, and figured like, I'll buy some of this GameStop stock. And then what happened next was like the whole community just started doing billboards. Like, here's some on the screen. It's so cool to see. And my question to him was like, why are you doing a billboard? And he's like, honestly, I never thought I could afford it. One other Redditor said he was doing a billboard for $20 a day. And I figured I could buy a share of stock, or I could maybe inspire some other people to get involved or to hold the stock. So, I mean, the whole community has leaned into outdoor. What do you think that this does long-term? Actually, that's his billboard right there. The one down here in the middle, GME to Mars with the yellow and white. That's his billboard. Like, did you expect to see this sort of response about outdoor from the Reddit community?
Well, honestly, I hoped for it. Obviously, not expected it, because but it's easy to say you expect it now after you see it. But I was hoping at best maybe that people would get hyped about just the picture of a billboard and say, okay, that's so cool. Look at it for 2 seconds, upvote it, and then move on with their day. But yeah, what happened was way more intense. And the story of how the first billboard went viral is really funny, actually, because so the guy who posted it was a guy who saw something that I posted on a different subreddit, because the Wall Street Bets subreddit has a very tough auto mode. It's a bot that moderates all the content.
Okay.
And it just bans random content, because with 8 million people there, of course, a lot of people are posting stuff that shouldn't be there. So the poster of the billboard was not getting through, but this guy saw it somewhere else, and he posted it on the subreddit. the thing you just showed, and then he actually in the comments he added credit to my Reddit account, and also said, hey, apparently you can book this here, and he linked to our website, which was crazy. I think if you scroll down, you'll see the comment as well. It should be pretty high up. Yeah. So while you search, I'll say the rest of the story. So he posted that, and that was on Saturday, and we immediately saw an influx of a huge number of people coming in. I think it's a bit lower down, coming in on the website. The website immediately crashed, to be honest, but thankfully we were all on call. So in like 10 minutes, it was up. Yeah, there it is. That's the one. So he posted this where it says
like he put the whole schedule of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's actually someone did a Google map with all the billboards. I don't know.
How cool is that? I mean, look at this list. There's got to be billboards in 30, 40 cities right now.
Yeah, something like that. So it's really cool. So the guy posted to our website. The website crashed. We then updated it. He sent a new link. He then also added another link to Blip, which I think is really amazing. And I've seen a lot of people buying billboards and putting screenshots either from our platform or from Blip, which I think is really cool, because it shows that it wasn't just, hey, our link was there, so people clicked on it, but there was actually active interest, right? Because people were looking, when they saw our website crashed because of the traffic, they were like, okay, what other solutions are there out there? So they ended up going to other places as well, which I think is really cool for the entire industry.
Right. That's good for it's the rising tide floats all boats theory. And we actually just had Brent Thompson from Blip on. The episode just came out.
Yeah.
So it'll be great to have the follow-up one too, because like for the out-of-home industry, it really matters. Like these are real dollars that are going to real media owners, and kind of preserving the beauty of outdoor, which is like the last bastion of free speech. When we see, there's so much conversation about the media and social media, and outdoor really has a special place there. Do you think that has long-term staying power for outdoor? The opportunity right now, when we look at the media landscape, like outdoor has that superpower.
Definitely. I still think so. Of course, online has the possibility to give a voice to literally everyone. But I think what outdoor does really well is that it's still extremely accessible, but it's also a cleaner space of expression, right? It's more curated, which by default gives it trust and gives it the possibility to build on something better than you can with a Facebook or a Reddit or a Twitter post, right? Because in online, you have to filter through the garbage, unfortunately, right, to find valuable content. Whereas in outdoor, that if it's there, some people looked at it and said, yeah, this qualifies for it to be here. And if we are able to make that available to as many people as possible, I think that helps the entire industry.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Where for TPS, where do you fit into the market? Is it the small business who's trying to get on a billboard? Do you play with like more mid-market advertisers? Is it enterprise brands? Maybe it's a mix of all of the above. Like, where's your sweet spot?
So I'd say it's somewhere between mid-market and enterprise. For mid-market, the value is that we're able to book hourly slots. So each client and each brand knows that they want to reach people at a certain hour, especially in out of home. So we're able to offer that. And for bigger clients, we're able to offer the dynamic creative possibilities where we can link to their own data or our data or public data and show custom content based on various triggers. So we've had the best experience. We initially started as very SME focused, but in time we realized we were serving middle and enterprise clients better, actually.
That's really interesting. And the dynamic creative, maybe can you give a little more color to that? Like what can I do as a brand with dynamic creative on digital out of home?
Yeah, so actually explaining this, I think, is the biggest challenge, because the short answer is everything, but that means nothing, right? So nobody gets excited when I say, hey, you can do everything.
Anything you want. Like
anything
maybe like what are the most common uses or the way that you think is most effective?
So I think the beauty of this is that if you know exactly what you want to say, you're able to deliver this message in a better context and impact more people. So for example, we've worked with Uber Eats, who did a really cool campaign, in my opinion, that decided to show different restaurants and different food based on the proximity of the billboard to the restaurant, so the delivery rate basically, and
Wow.
reviews in the app. So you can say, if this is delivering in Manhattan, I want to show it on the billboard rather than just say order pizza or order whatever.
Sure.
They can link their own data, for example. So if they see that a certain area, this they haven't done, but it's something that can be done. If they see a certain area has a high demand for I don't know, Turkish food, they can show Turkish restaurants that deliver in that specific area. So that kind of dynamic.
Smart.
Yeah, when we say dynamic creative, that's what we refer to. Like, show messages that are more relevant to people in proximity of that billboard automatically, as much as possible, of course.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And how about inventory? Are there markets that you do exceptionally well? Is it everywhere, international? Like what's the inventory makeup look like?
Mm-hmm. So right now, I think in terms of inventory, we're at around 270,000 screens.
Wow.
So we 1,000 screens, yeah. So 270K. So we work mostly I think we have the best success in the US and Western Europe. But we also have inventory in Asia, for example. So I lived in South Korea for the last year and a bit. Actually, the whole COVID pandemic hit me when I was in South Korea, so that was a fun experience.
And you're in Romania now and coming back to the States here pretty soon.
Yeah. So I'm originally from Romania and I came here for the holidays, and I'm here now, but coming to the States next week.
So you get to see the world of out of home. Where do you think, like, domestically here in the United States, and we can extrapolate this conversation a little bit, because so a lot of the audio audience is here domestically. The YouTube audience is mostly international. Like, what do you think is interesting about the composition of the global out of home market, since you are obviously traveling a lot, but you're at the tip of the spear here in it?
Yeah, so definitely the US is by far the most mature market when it comes to out of home, that it has diversity, it has premium inventory, and it has probably some of the most amount of data that it can offer advertisers. It's interesting, for example, in South Korea, and I'll talk about it for a second because I'm more familiar with it, out of home is extremely exclusive. So they don't really, of course, everyone likes money, so of course they accept advertisers there, but the attitude towards it is more exclusive and more, they don't really want to position it as a channel that anyone can jump into and do things there. I think it's because of the culture. It's also because they want to have bragging rights for being there, so they're not really fans of pushing transparency and democracy when it comes to out of home. In Europe, especially in Eastern Europe, since it's still a developing market when it comes to digital out of home, I think a lot of things are happening really fast, and we're actually kind of burning some stages and skipping some steps. It's the same that happened with the internet here, because we got the internet infrastructure later than the US and more developed markets. Now we have some of the fastest internet out there because the infrastructure that came was already high end when it came. So I think we're kind of rushing through the digital out of home expansion phase in Eastern Europe. And then Western Europe, I think it's kind of a mix of both. So it's somewhere, in my opinion, between Eastern Europe and the US, because it has really premium inventory, but it also has a lot of small screens through indoor locations and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. It's great to know that you have inventory available internationally, because it's a smart approach that you're taking. I'm really compelled, and I'd love to continue this conversation after
Definitely.
the episode here. For folks that do want to learn more, where should they go? How do they get in touch with you?
So it's pretty easy, tpsengage.com. We have a pretty unique name, so we're easy to find. And in my case, I did put my social media on private for a second when the Reddit craze started, because I was kind of concerned, but now they're open as well. So my name, again, if they search my name, they usually find my socials and everything really easily.
Cool. We'll make sure that that your name and everything is linked out in the description below. What are you most excited about in 2021?
I'm really excited. I think I'm really excited about the bounce back, right, of out of home. So 2020 was a difficult year for the entire industry. But I think now with things like this happening and people starting to talk about going outside, viral billboards, and we're only in February, right? February just started. So I'm excited about really cool and creative things that can happen this year in order, because I feel there's a lot of pent-up excitement. People have been staying indoors for so long, and I'm speaking for myself here, but I'm tired. Like, I'm exhausted of seeing the same four walls over and over again. Yeah.
It just snowed for 2 days straight here, and it was the most claustrophobic feeling because I'm like, all right, like I'm already mostly stuck at home because it's cold and it's the Northeast and it's January, February. Then it snowed for 2 days straight. We got 30 inches of snow, and the whole time I'm thinking, I'm like, even if I could go out, there's nowhere to go. What a strange feeling. Just and my friend Rick Robinson from Billups put it best. Like we own the word out. Right? Like the world is coming back outside here in a few months, and it's going to be an exciting time for out of home. I think I'm with you there. Are you a podcast guy? Are you a reader? Where do you go for education, motivation, inspiration?
I do listen to a couple of podcasts, but I've recently started, so I'm still kind of discovering them. I do watch a lot of YouTube, and I read a lot of articles as well. Honestly, I kind of hate myself for this, but it's been harder and harder to sit down and actually read books because of all the fast-paced things that are happening today. And I've actually recently discovered the marketing TikTok. And I know this sounds so counterintuitive because TikTok is for anything.
Tell me more. Come on, we just talked about Reddit for 20 minutes.
Yeah, fair enough. There's
what's the TikTok? What's the TikTok marketing? What's marketing TikTok?
Marketing TikTok is basically people talking about marketing. Even if we're talking, I haven't seen a lot of comments on outdoor, by the way. Funny enough, the guys, the guys from New York Post that picked up the billboard that we did found it on TikTok initially, because I just posted it on my personal account because I was like, okay, the algorithm is pretty nice, so why not? Let's get some free views. Maybe it gets picked up, and it did. And I've started to follow some very specific accounts that talk about SEO marketing, PPC marketing, growth hacking, and stuff like that. But I haven't seen one in specifically for outdoor marketing. So
guess what the first post is going to be? This episode, Out of Home Insiders going to TikTok. You might even get a dance or two because all right, this is if you hate yourself for not reading more, I hate myself for the fact that I've been thinking about I could be a really good TikTok dancer. So now you've inspired me. I can talk about marketing and do dances. Seems like a sweet spot.
Yeah, and multitasking is like the main thing now, right?
Right.
Listen to a podcast while you read and while you do a dance. If you're not productive, you're ruining your life.
That's why when I buy books, I buy the audiobook and the book, and I read the book while listening to the book, and that's redundant. So why not go on TikTok? Awesome, Matt. It's been awesome. This has been a lot of fun. We'll have to do like a year in review after we've done a whole bunch of campaigns and to check in, see what happens to the diamond hands.
Definitely, I'd love it. I'd love that.
Awesome. Hey, if you found this episode to be entertaining, helpful, please share it with somebody else who you think might enjoy. And as always, smash that subscribe button down there in the corner, and we'll see you guys next time.